Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to do something very different, and it's something that really struck me as something that I would like to do and put out for the gaming community out there. And this is just my take on the plot of Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I've never played Red Dead Redemption. I never played the first one, but I wanted to walk through the analysis of the plot of this very first the first scenes of the game, and some of the things that really stand out, just to help you see the depth of the story writing for this game. Now, I like Westerns. I don't know how many of you are Western fans, or how many of you are playing the game because of the hype or because you love the first Red Dead Redemption game, but there's nothing, as fun as, gunslingers for everyone. And so that's exactly why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because this game is actually a solid game, and a few things have pointed that out. So you're going to hear my first impressions as this video is running. I'm actually recording my audio as I'm actually watching the same footage that you're going to be watching, and I'm probably not going to do a video like this, but I just wanted to show you guys the way the plot is set up and the plot twist that's actually coming along with this game, because I feel like, this game is supposed to make everybody else that writes stories in video games look somewhat lazy. Because first of all, you get this game, and the game has 109 or 100 and whatever gigs of, space that it needs on your system. And you're wondering, good night, what all is going to be inside of this package? And so one of our team members got a digital copy. I was fortunate to get a physical copy because my PlayStation crashed and I had a warranty on it. So they replaced it with a Red Dead Redemption version. So, hey, thumbs up to GameStop. But it came with 2 discs. And so I installed one side of the disc and copied the other side and installed it. And that was pretty exciting to actually do. And so we got to play the first few missions. You've seen it on our channel. If you haven't, go ahead and click the link up there where we actually talk about, I said talk about. We didn't say anything. We just did our gameplay. We prefer to do our gameplays with no commentary, and we prefer to comment on certain aspects of the game. So the game kicks off with, this scene of an ice storm and a chariot. A few chariots actually in like a little, train following each other, in a sense, a company of folk. And then you see the hats and the winter coats, and everybody is freezing. I mean, this is barely survival. And this already, I think if there's any way you're going to start a Western ever in life, is you're going to start a Western with something that looks like this. Or you kind of have to put a snow scene or some cold scene in a Western. For those of you who've watched some movies, you've seen that happen. And then the revelation of Arthur here, how they reveal him, they show his face, he's your main character. And so they're discussing about, the welfare, the well-being of a crew member. And, they run into Arthur, who's actually gone ahead to scout to make sure things are okay. So for someone like me who's never played Red Dead Redemption before, I am utterly drawn into a game like this. I don't really think you need to play the first one. In my opinion, I think you're fine. So let's start off with everything that's going on in the game right now. So the first scene opens up with the chapter 1, the title of that chapter written in an old school font. The aesthetics is so good. It kind of pulls you in. And then you have a gentleman that opens the door to a house with a gun pointed, into this residential structure as he scans. And so he's scanning, and he calls out and says, hey, everybody come in. The coast is clear. And this company comes in and settles in, and they bring, the body of their wounded into the cabin, and they're probably trying to see if they can treat him. The company is made up of men, women, and children. Probably something reminiscent of how outlaws will probably travel back in the 90s or whatever the time was. And they find out that their own crew member is dead, even, as they had tried to, kind of keep him alive or whatever. We don't know what happened to him. Clearly, he was probably shot in some sense or wounded, because apparently the only way that people probably would die in that time will be. And so these 3 gentlemen are gathering here. I call them gentlemen. They're bandits. They're not gentlemen. And they even admit it. They're gathering to kind of figure out what's going on, because they've sent 2 scouts ahead of them. And so they want to go find those scouts and see if they've actually been able to discover any source of supplies and food. It doesn't matter where they find it. They're probably going to steal it. But there is a very pivotal aspect where the leader of the gang, the guy in the black coat and the black hat, Arthur is your character. He's on the right. But the leader of the gang gives this speech, and he's pretty much egging everybody to hang on. And, you know, he's telling them, hey, I want you guys to hang on because this is where we've been coming from. So the story here sets up where they're coming from, where they are currently, and where it is that they're going. They don't give us a location where they're going, but they're escaping probably, you know, the law, because the lawlessness is, you know, starting to get curbed by authorities and all of that. So he gives this speech and he pretty much eggs them on. Just a great leadership, you know, speech to encourage people that are around you. If you know anything about leadership, it's one of the best things is communication for your people, your followers, to know where you are. So this guy already is a great leader. They're establishing his authority as a leader. They're establishing his, what would I say? Yeah, he's not just a positional leader. He's pretty much someone who's been given permission to lead. You know, and so that's exactly what's going on. He's giving the mandate. He's setting that up for everybody to understand this is where we are and this is how we're going to make it through all of this. And so when it comes to story writing and plot writing, I think it's very important that they establish these things because it does some deepening of the characters. Now, in the scene outside, as they try to go find their scouts, Arthur asks a very important question here about what happened on some boat. Apparently there was a boat somewhere. We don't know what it is. We don't know what happened there. But that's when the other guy that was on the stretcher, who'd been shot and killed, that's where he died. Apparently Arthur wasn't even with them. So that's pretty much what's happening. So they get their horses, they get on board, and they start to, you know, go find their scout. Well, good thing is they run into their scouts without any issues, you know, and I love the way he's actually revealed. And there's something about this, the cinematic of the game here is whenever you're going into a cutscene, it just changes into a cinematic view, into not the full screen reduces in picture. I don't know what they call it, and I know what it is, but I can't think of it right now. I'm not scripting this video. And they reveal Micah, who comes out of the dark, out of the shadows. You know, the cinematics is just very, very good. In an ice storm, you know, where they have, you know, lanterns and all that, and they pretty much just chat with Micah. You know, he's been scouting alone in this cold, and he gives a report to his commander. Now, somewhere along this journey, I failed to report to find Micah is the leader tells Arthur that I need you to help me to encourage these people and keep them, you know, strong, because I trust you. So you've been given a mandate as the player character. You now have a mandate. Your job is to fulfill your commander's, you know, wish in keeping the company safe and keeping everybody. And so that's the mandate right now, because now a crew member has been lost, and so there's a mandate to keep everybody alive, keep everybody well fed. Anyways, they approach this cabin. And inside of this cabin is where the plot twist happens. So if you have not watched anything about this game, please do not watch this video. It's all about spoilers. As they approach, they turn off their lanterns. Very slow paced. A lot of people who call this game Horse Riding Simulator know nothing about a quality Western. I guess it was just a joke, because the joke's on them. The game's absolutely amazing from a story standpoint. Anyways, they approach this cabin, and as they approach, they get off their horses, and their leader tells Micah and Arthur, you and Micah, to go hide. And the positioning of where you guys actually go hide is very important. It's set up perfectly. And this, to me, I think is one of the biggest, you know, I would say twists in any action shooter that I've seen in the last few years. There have not been a lot of action shooters that have good story twists in a while. I mean, yes, other games have had that in the last few years, but they're not action shooters. And so for them to spend time not only depending on Red Dead Redemption's fame, but actually setting up a story, I think that's why this game deserves and has been critically acclaimed as a masterpiece even a few days after its release. So this is what's pivotal for the entirety of the story. The leader goes up and he, calls out to the people that are currently occupying the house. And, he's asking for help, and they're about to turn him away. They're like, "Old man, we ain't got nothing for you here. You need to turn back." I love the accents, man. I live in Midwest America. I mean, I've come to appreciate that Southern drawl like crazy. I have a Southern drawl too, but this is where it is. Look, Micah discovers something in that wagon or cart or whatever. It's a body. And he calls to you, Arthur. He's like, "Arthur, oh my goodness." Everything's about to turn. I turned off the subtitles just for more of a, some kind of better effect. And he pulls out his weapons. So it's about to get down. A fight is about to break out. And this, to me, I felt like, whoa, what in the world is going on? There's a body in that wagon. And, if there's a body in that wagon, well, almost automatically, that these men that they're approaching are bad men. And honestly, when I first saw this party, having never played Red Dead Redemption before, if I was playing the game from the story perspective of not knowing what was going on, I would have gone in there with a mind of thinking that, Arthur and his company, were good men, not knowing that they were bandits. But, we already kind of know the plot. But if you were setting this up as a movie, you still would not at this point know that Arthur is a bandit. But the plot's already been set up about outlaws and stuff, but they didn't tell you that Arthur is a bandit. They didn't tell you about his company being a company of bandits. And so they're here, and it's all about to change. In the military, when a lot of people may say, some military people I've heard say that the parade is about to change, and so it's about to go down. And before you know what's happening, you are obligated to start taking out these bad guys. And so, bam, you lied, the first guy and the second guy, I think they both share a bullet, because if you hit them with a headshot, they'll share that bullet, and then the shooting starts. And you're behind cover. So cover-based shooting, definitely my thing. I used to play the Division, so I'm all about cover-based shooter. And the cover is destructible, so that is quite amazing. So there's a shooting going on, and this is what really says, okay, you are in no man's land. You are out in the middle of nowhere. You are on your own, and you will be killed in this dangerous world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is masterful writing for an action shooter game. A lot of games these days, I don't know. I mean, their story is good, but when it comes to action shooting, it's almost like we find a small plot, and we run a little mission here and there, and then we all run into multiplayer so that we can shoot each other all over the place. In the case of Rockstar, they have not taken the easy way out. They've actually set up a plot. They've set up a story. They've set up a character and characters that we are knowing by name. I mean, they're mentioning members of this company along the ride to this cabin. And even the bandits that they just had a shootout with are called the O'Driscolls. So we know who the O'Driscolls are, that they're just bad guys. Right now, they've already been labeled as bad guys. And so this scene continues, and they are able to recover a lady from this house who's been hiding from them, and find out that that's her husband's body that's in the wagon. And the house burns down because Micah is being stupid. Instead of kind of calming down, he throws a lantern on the ground and burns down the stinking house, which was a house that they could have used for shelter. But they do have the other place that they wanted to set up as a base camp. And so now you have not only the fact that you're running away from people, you have now crossed paths with the O'Driscolls, which sets the tone for the next few hours of gameplay of this game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is when it comes to shooting, action shooter games, RPG and stuff, I think we have ourselves a good game for the next few years. Anybody else that's going to put a shooter game out here is going to have to compete with this game. And I'm telling you, you cannot get more grounded than a Western. I know a lot of people have been saying World War I, World War II, all these other games, whatever. But man, as a Western, that is as grounded as you can have a video game, shipped to you. So anybody else that's thinking about developing a game better give themselves a few years, or maybe they have something cooking in the pot, because this game is absolutely solid. Rockstar did not hold back any punches when it came to setting up a plot, setting you up as a character to understand your world and understand what kind of world you're living in. Very dangerous world. I mean, they just took out a bunch of guys and just went on in, you know, to keep getting supplies like it was nothing. That shows that these men are used to a rough life. You know, even Arthur, the way he sounds, he's so gruff. And then they introduced the hunger mechanic, they introduced the stamina mechanic, and all those things that are going to run you throughout this game and help you understand that you have to care for your character extensively. So that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to do an analysis of the plot, and I hope that I've been able to deliver my thoughts and opinions on how I think this game has achieved masterpiece, even in its first 20 minutes of gameplay. That's where if a game can convince you in its first 20 minutes of gameplay, then you're set up for, you know, something really super. I mean, the music even changes to let you know, hey, this is all about to go, it's about to go down. And, you know, from a gaming perspective and from a cinematic, this game brings gaming and the cinematic and the story writing and blends them all up in a little mortar for you, and then seasons it with your food, and then you just eat it all up. It's crazy how they've done it. And I'm absolutely impressed with the gameplay making that Rockstar has brought in a year. Like, in a year that a lot of companies are cutting down on their content, these guys have gone, you know what, we're just going to give people as much content as they want. And then there's going to be an online mode that's coming up. If you are looking for a game to buy this season for the value of your money, this is it. I mean, I'm sorry. I've you know, propped up some other video games thinking that they were going to be great, but you know, from the first hour of this game that we've played so far, and we're playing much more of the game. Don't get me wrong. We just know that with the file size, there's a lot more to come. So it's almost 20 minutes. I'm going to get out of you guys' hair. I appreciate your audience. If you like the video, please specifically comment if you want me to actually continue to walk through some of the plot twists, some of the story setups that I discover that I find in the game, and I'll be happy to do that for you guys. If not, just dislike the video and tell me, hey, shut up. And I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Also, consider subscribing if you like what we're doing here. I know we do our gameplays with no commentary, but it's how we've chosen to do it. That way we can get more of the game out for you guys. And eventually, if we get some more team members that can actually put you know, some commentary in their gameplay, then definitely we will be happy to do that for you guys. But for now, we feel like, you know, if you want to just evaluate the game, we genuinely think it will serve some of the community with having that gameplay without commentary. That's all I have for now, and like I said, I'll see you guys in my next video. My name is Imake with Gamey Daddy, and peace.